Hello everyone, this is Ethan Dragon, and welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Heroes. Here you are at the end of the season in Tier 39. Pretty solid. Of course, everything was a bit sloppy this week, but here we go. Of course, naturally we have to goofball with a very similar defense as we have done for previous season. Nothing too mind-blowing here. We just kind of have Legendary Sigurd just to kind of be there. He never really does anything anymore, so I figured I would just slap a rally on him and call it a day. Our opponent here decides to fall for our turn 1 moon trap. I feel like this never needed to happen because they even have Elamine here, but you know, we don't worry about that part. Free kill there, and then now Legendary Lona gets that +1 movement to absolutely obliterate Brave Edelgard, and then we get another kill, and everyone's already approaching this rip. This season is of course our weakest season in terms of legendary. The legendary weak is water and fire, or wind and fire. And so we didn't have too many options for offense. I decided to just use Legendary Mark again. Not surprisingly, I needed to slap no follow-up seal on him, otherwise he would have been absolutely obliterated by some other units, but that's how it goes sometimes. And once again we have the classic meme shenanigans of the turn 1. I feel like folks are just so used to not getting memed on turn 1 anymore that they just get memed on turn 1 again. But they are not in a great shape here because they got Legendary Sigurd. But of course the thing with Legendary Mark and no follow-up seal is that our particular Legendary Mark does not have many merges or many flowers for that matter, so dragon flowers. So his overall base stats are pretty darn garbo. Speaking of garbo, our opponent here is just going to hit end turn 1. Pretty reasonable if I would say so myself if it weren't for Legendary Celica. Not sure what they were expecting there, but you can't necessarily just chuck Brave Dimitri in however you like. You still need some sort of strategy, but honestly, with a good team comp, it still doesn't require too much. Not surprisingly, of course, Legendary Mark could not bait out a lot of ranged units, because he was either just getting 2-shot, or he missed the counter kill, or he just couldn't even counter, because, for example, Legendary Veronica, or she's legendary. Win legendary hero, right? I don't remember. Pretty sure she's a win legendary hero, but we have the classic shenanigans with Fatal Smoke, which allows us to still not pick up the kill. Unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Really needed the not isolation to happen, but that's just well played by our opponent there. This, not as well played. We have AoE coming in. That's not going to be nice, but anyways, Legendary Mark could not bait a lot of units. That's why this season we were running Distant Counter. People call it Distant Counter Dragon Seal, so we'll just call it that. On our Naga, so she could also bait some units, and she definitely did plenty of that. Bonus stats really helping out this season. And of course, it was primarily... She was able to bait units primarily because of her remix, allowing her, for example, to get that 25% damage reduction, which is pretty useful when you get plus 10 HP off your bonus stats. And then of course she can get up to +9 to all stats by having enough allies with dragon effectiveness within, what was it, 4 spaces, which is fantastic range. So for example, I had her bait a legendary Veronica without having any units within 2 spaces of her because it's very nice range buffing. So that definitely helped us out a lot in that matchup. Of course, naturally, we goofed a ton this season. A couple of mistaps, also known as like 5 mistaps this season. Actually horrible play on that, in that respect, but what are you gonna do about it? At this point, our opponent can just basically do whatever as long as they don't throw. So, pretty comfortable win for our opponent here. Nothing too mind-blowing. Yeah, Legendary Mark. The one reason I did bring him this season though was for Mortis, just because none of my ranged units would stand a chance to actually take him out, so a lot of times I just have to enemy phase him, which is totally fine. Because we had catapult bonus this week, I was able to cheese some defenses because some players just use that desert map where there's the unbreakable wall here and the 2 defense tiles. So they usually like to place structures, or the unbreakable wall is somewhere, doesn't matter. Probably right here, isn't it? Yeah. Usually people like to place their fortress like here, and then they use structures to block off any way someone could bait out a ranged unit from the far right column. But of course, sometimes you can use catapult to troll people that way, which is nice. But unfortunately here, we get some meme shenanigans. Opponent decides to just hit end turn, pretty reasonable. And get rally memes, of course. Dancing memes, how to waste dance is 101. And it's well played here. They've bottlenecked the map so that Brave Dimitri can't actually get attacked by relevant ranged unit threats. They got Harsh Command plus means, but they correctly moved their units away. Just again played. The Mortis not really doing anything except surviving at 1 HP. And of course, Legendary Lona isn't going to survive. And once again, Legendary Self is just stuck doing nothing. So we're just going to hit end turn here and pick up the kill on her before she has any chance of trolling Brave Dimitri. I honestly don't think we were going to stand a chance. But you never know. They're just going to keep hitting end turn. Surprisingly, Brave Dimitri misses yet another kill. Keeps missing kills apparently, 10 out of 10. We got Vantage means, but of course it doesn't matter because Brave Dimitri can just the time of the week. The problem is, of course, they weren't able to grab the other ether structure, but it's honestly not too big of a deal. Speaking of ether structures though, we completely goofed up the match by mistapping a kill. So I was trying to leave the enemy from Mortis last to pick up ether structures and just get free real estate to run around the map. But I accidentally murdered him instead of not murdering him. So I just missed both ether structures in that match. Fortunately, we were able to not lose any of our other matches and pick up all those ether structures. We still got in all of our matches this season. Definitely pretty darn sloppy play this season. Really need to stop mistapping because we already make it hard enough on us by trying to casually win every match with one offense team. Definitely not very practical. We hear our opponent doing some classic end turn shenanigans. But we got rallies, so that's kind of a problem for our opponent here. Unfortunately, Olivia does too much damage, but not enough damage. That's unfortunate. At this point, of course, we don't stand a chance. Because they have Summer Edelgard to sweep through. That's nothing here at this point. Miracle's damage output is non-existent. We had some mean investment onto her with that one sword that gives a guaranteed follow-up attack and whatnot. She can definitely do some damage, but it definitely wouldn't be enough to pick up a right in a kill on their Spring Bernadetta here. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're just kind of cruising along in E3. We have the new Young Hector armored beacon that everyone's going crazy about. It definitely is a very strong special, because of course it's a defensive special that actually can also help you deal some damage. Assuming you can proc the special, of course, so we don't worry about that part. Of course, Legendary Lona doesn't have her AoE up, so it doesn't matter. They can just easily wall with Hector. Not too mind-blowing here. Not really much our team can do in that respect. Duma trolling. And they're just gonna hit end turn here. Seems pretty reasonable as long as they have face tank. We got Legendary Sigurd memes, but because of Ash, we can't actually move past her with Legendary Sigurd, and unfortunately we don't have enough damage output there to pick up the kill. We do hit the Fatal Smoke, but the Mortis can't actually do any damage, so that's unfortunate. That's why Bulwark is super strong, because in that instance there, of course Legendary Sigurd would be able to pick up a kill if he could actually move past Ash, which is why maybe we should run pass again, but we just have him here this season for memes. Here I kind of question their choice to put Elamine in the corner there. They end up just going for the kill because they have trapped their Elamine. 10 out of 10. Definitely debating at this point. Of course, we're planning on ending our super long time of playing this game. Still not entirely sure what we want to summon for to end it all, but yeah, we'll worry about that later. In the meantime, PowerPoint has to worry about AoE Legendary Lilna party bearing, but of course Brave Edelgard is their bar save, so they can wall that pretty easily. And of course, we're not running a blazing AoE. And the thing with Gifted Magic is that it's of course super easy to charge up, but it only gives AoE damage equal to 0.8 times the difference between visible attack and Riz. So it doesn't scale very well. Compared to the 1.5, it's definitely, it's close enough to half as strong, but not really. It's not great, but what you can do. Say third of the season also we used here, now that I think about it, to control some defenses by having units end turn that our opponent wasn't planning on. So then we forced answers forward and snipe them down and get away with it, kind of a deal. Pretty funny. It definitely is something I would like to be more consistent though, because let's just say a lot of units, because of some particular commonly used anima mythics, cough cough cough, a lot of units can then stack res to out-res Sather, even if you're running Phantom Res Seal. Because also, the opponent can also run Phantom Res, so that's a thing. Your opponent is just going to utilize their safety fence to snipe down turn 1 and get away with it. If it didn't involve the memes. Here, unfortunately, we don't have enough mobility on our units to punish, but Duma sniping down the safety fence would have been funny if things actually happened. Of course, nothing actually happened, so our opponent can just snipe down all of our units and call it a day. Legendary Sigurd's going to completely overextend himself. We need a Harsh Command Plus meme, and we do get it. And so, of course, that means we have to pick up the kill anyways. Harsh Command Plus for the win. Of course, that's all that's going to happen at this point, because Enclosure is going to screw over Crusader's Ward. And we have Brave Prom to absolutely obliterate here. Not sure why they just didn't bait out Miramalis. It's not like they have to worry about Duma here, especially since they have Dragon Effectiveness available. I really don't see a problem. But now they can just grab the Ether Structures, super straightforward. And there's nothing Duma can do except walk around the map. Hooray! Quite a lot of matches this week as well, which I was not expecting, but I guess we're involved, so it's possible. Here we have a Lucia. Let's see how she does. Got a Gale Force option as well, and of course Legendary Elwood, the unit we still don't have. 10 out of 10. Here we go with ground orders, doing absolutely nothing. Because, well, we can actually just snipe down with ground orders. We honestly have ground orders just for slightly better mobility. It's pretty much better than any other shield we could chuck on Mirabilis, so I figured. And we get a kill out of it here, so that's cool. Of course, that's all we're gonna get. Because there's no way Lucia is actually going to lose any of our remaining units. Ground orders memes, but hey, at least Duma gets to survive one. And unfortunately, you can't proc his special. No extra damage available. Unfortunate. And of course, they have Celine for the healing. It's pretty nice. Fatal Smoke is super uncommon nowadays, so it's easier to tank a lot of teams. As if it wasn't already easy enough to tank a lot of teams, because you can also heal in between combats, which is huge. Being able to just have enough bulk to survive every combat without any healing is incredibly difficult, even though there's HP inflation. Here, all this Kanto shenanigans is working out for our opponent here. Just a pretty straightforward team. Not wait for Mortis is going to be doing anything here. Not sure what our opponent is waiting for, but here we are, last turn. Yeah, I'm not sure what our opponent was doing here. But yeah, awkward. Of course they did lose a unit anyways, so you're on the super competitive side of Ether Raids, and that's an instant surrender. But we have just female Byleth. Legendary female Byleth. Wish she had this much bulk. And honestly, it's not that much bulk anyways, but I mean, for these purposes, probably gonna be okay. The only thing they have to worry about is, of course, good ol' Canner, but they have a Sheriff for a reason, so huge damage output coming out of that special, but that's basically all of her damage output, so that's what you would expect. No healing available, so there's that. Of course, now they can heal up. There's no real punish here. Just solid play. No shenanigans, just nukes. Now here Legendary Celica does get to snipe down a Shara because they left her out in the open. That's unfortunate. I highly doubt our Legendary Celica would have been able to beat their female Violet anyway, so it's not like it matters. Here we go, Duma. Obviously not going to have any chance. He can of course survive, but that doesn't really do anything except stall some time, which is not relevant here because apparently he can just keep surviving, but it's not like it matters again because he can't kill. If he could survive long enough to completely stall out, then that'd be cool, but yeah, that's not just outside of healing tower range. Not that it matters because Mortis isn't going to do enough damage anyways. The opponent gets away with the shenanigans. And with that, that's all the replays this week. 12 so far this week. We can technically still lose Lift, because as you can see, our last match where we lost Lift was 22 hours ago, so we have 3 hours to lose more Lift. Doesn't matter though, because it won't change our tiering. It'll change our ranking, but honestly it doesn't matter to us at this point. Resonant battles overall this week. Of course, we're not scoring great, but we're in interval 18, so it doesn't matter. Allegiance battles is, of course, our weakest pair of legendary blessing seasons, Wind and Fire, so even with that, you can see we're definitely slipping. Looks like someone just tried to call it, 10 out of 10. And Arena, we had this funny thing happen yesterday where I was trying to fish for at least 764s, but all I could find is 762s. So I did a run with 762s, and it's like 50 something ranks from dropping out, so I was like, okay, we'll check again later. So today, we're able to find up to 766s. I'm guessing people just didn't have their defenses up scoring high enough, because of course, the thing with Arena offense is if you're running the bonus legendary hero, you automatically get the highest score possible you can get. So it doesn't matter if there's literally only one person who has a team that scores that high, you're still gonna get it. But if you're like me, who's just fishing with blessing abuse to score enough, you're just gonna have to keep fishing for a very, very long time. So, fortunately, we're able to get the 764s, and I'm pretty sure this is going to stay tier 21. We're probably gonna have to build Chad next week if we want to stay. And I have absolutely no idea what happened on defense this week. We just got matched really early in the season by this one person when we didn't have our bonus unit up, so we'll take it. It's better than nothing, of course. Not like we're really losing out on that many feathers. 300 feathers, oh no, what are we gonna do? Arena Assault though, we just really do not care because, again, this is our absolute weakest scoring, and with how scoring is nowadays, and our floor score being like 756 with this team, yeah, there's basically no chance for us to make top 1k without doing a ton of runs. And of course, the matchups aren't any easier, because if we were up against Legendary Yuri with, I don't know, another Yuri and duo dagger and some other shenanigans, it's definitely an absolute pain to deal with just in terms of mobility. And of course with foul play, they can just keep slowly creeping up towards you, and if you don't have really strong Kanto, or the opponent has Kanto control, then you can't really hit and run, you just gotta go in and nuke everything. So that's what made Arena difficult this week, but fortunately we set ourselves up a long time ago to be able to just casually run a dancer in Arena regardless of what season it is and get away with it. So that's nice. But anyways, we'll be back when the results drop in.